been a bit traumatic this week, if I'm honest. Yeah, I've been through the mill, but the channel's done great. Anyway, welcome to Table Talk. Hello everyone, welcome to Model Kit Stuff. My name is Jason and this is Table Talk. It's the last one in our 10k takeover. Hope you've been enjoying the content that you guys chose. The channel's done really well in the last week. We've already got to a point in October where I've got 1/3 more subscribers than I would normally get in a month. And a lot of that has been largely to do with wooden kits, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But yeah, a good week for the channel. Not so brilliant for me. We'll also talk about that later on. But yeah, the channel has gone as expected, and we even managed to get 2 Sharnhorst videos out because I wasn't sure. So all in all, everything's gone to plan, but the 10k takeover has not quite finished. This is not the last thing that we're going to do. We've got something we're going to do tomorrow, and again we'll talk about that when we talk about what's coming up. So if you're one of my new subscribers, a massive welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining me. Your subscription is greatly appreciated. We've been going for 4 years now. I say we, that's the royal we. And the channel has sort of evolved as we've gone. What I thought we'd do and what I've ended up doing is slightly different, and where the channel is going as a consequence of the last 2-3 weeks is probably changing its direction ever so slightly. So there's lots going on, and in this video we talk about all of that, what's coming up, what's been happening, what the plans are, and it's the place where you guys can get involved as well. So right then, let's get stuck in and start with what we got up to last week. So Monday you asked for another part in the wooden ship modelling for absolute beginners, which focuses on this, the Sherbourn, and as you can see, the first planking is just finished. Well, I say it is. I've got a little bit left to do on this side. I couldn't quite get it done last night. You'll understand why later. But yeah, I have managed to get a little hole in it, which is great. I can explain how to sort little things like that out. So what we're doing with this is, I know that there's a number of you planning to build along, so it's important that I explain this to you, I think. We're doing the whole build of this based on you've never built a wooden ship before and introducing you into it. So there's 2 areas in building wooden ships which I would say typically people find difficult, and it's that point where they might walk away from the build and never come back to a wooden ship. And putting planks on the hull is definitely one of those 2. The other one is rigging, and you know, there's a reason why we're doing a single masted kit with little shrouds. But what I plan to do when this video is finished, this build is finished, is continue that journey. So there's more things that you can learn as you go, and what I want to do is navigate you through that experience. So I've very carefully chosen some kits that we can build which will take you from I've never built a model ship before to there is nothing I can't build in wooden ship kits. So from complete absolute beginner, complete novice to ship master. it will take a few years, you know, in fairness, but that's what I plan to do in and amongst the other things that we're doing. So I have ordered a second kit, which is also a novice kit, which we'll build straight after this, and it'll have some different approaches to the hull planking and so on, and we'll just slowly up those skills. So in this one, what I'm doing is I'm following the instructions, and we're not doing it particularly scientifically. We're just sticking the planks on with a bit of a taper, pretty much as per the instructions. And the reason why I'm doing that is if you do it that way, you do come up against one or two little issues, and I wanted to emulate those issues so that when inevitably a beginner comes, gets one of those issues, they know A, why it's happened, B, how to avoid it happening in the future, and C, how to resolve what has just happened. Whereas most instructions don't do that, and most instructions are written by experts who say, well, you just simply put these planks down and put a little taper in, and you're left scratching your head wondering what you're supposed to do. So what we'll do is on the first planking, I'll take you through it as per the instructions. Then I'll explain what bits have gone wrong and why, and how to resolve them so you don't walk away from your build. And then when we do the second planking, we'll do it a little bit more scientifically so that A, you can get an understanding of how to do it better, and B, you can get a better finish on the outside edge so that if maybe you wanted to varnish it rather than paint it, you've got a finish that would potentially be up to that. So that's very loosely the plan. But I have several kits in a little pipeline that we will build, which will, each time you go, you'll build your knowledge, build your understanding, do something slightly different, add onto your skill set. But yeah, that should be fun. So you've had the second part of that. What's going to happen going forward is that they will come out every other week. So on a Monday, every other week. The size of them will vary. The first two have been roughly an hour. They're not all going to be like that. The next one's likely to be a fair bit shorter. So, you know, they could be 20 minutes. They could be an hour, all depending on what we're doing. Some of them will be a whole section of the build. So it might cover doing all of the planking in one, and then other bits might be, you know, we've got this far in this process and we've got this far in this process, especially when you get to things like rigging and that sort of stuff. What I've done though is I have shown you putting down every single plank on here. So at every stage you'll see what plank we've done, why we've done it, where we've done it, what we've done to get it down. So there's no, right, I've done two, now get on with it, and then when they're all done I'll come back to you. Every plank could be different, so I've taken you through every single plank on one side, and then I've done the other side off camera. So the side that's completed is the off camera side. The side that isn't is the on camera side. So we've just got to finish that up. So that's where we are with the Sherbourn build. So far, so good. Happy with it. That was Monday. So then Wednesday, we had the Graf Zeppelin. If you said to me, when did that Graf Zeppelin come out? Off the top of my head, I'd have gone, oh, about 3 years ago. 7? Where's time going? I remember it coming out and thinking, oh, I really need to get hold of that. You know, German aircraft carrier. There ain't too many of them about. So, yeah, definitely wanted to get hold of that. And for one reason or another, I never bought it at the time it was released. And then I've sort of been keeping my eye on one coming out. And then this one came up on eBay, and it was such a good price that I couldn't say no. And I knew that it had issues. I knew that it didn't have decals, and I knew that I didn't actually, in fairness, know that the instructions had been printed off another website until I got it. But I knew there was no decals, because that had been mentioned, and I wasn't bothered about that. Who's going to use trumpeters' decals on a ship, for heaven's sake? So yeah, I was quite, you know, quite happy with that. I was getting a bit of a bargain, all things being equal. And the box isn't damaged, so it's a little bit strange that the decals may have got wet or damaged or something like that. So maybe they just got mislaid. I don't know, but the box did smell a bit musty. Anyway, the kit itself, pretty disappointed with it, to be honest. You know, looking forward to it. Hold up, don't want that fading away. Looking forward to it, and then you open it, and they've done such a half-hearted effort of it that, you know, I was quite disappointed. Why on earth did they not bother putting a bit of detail in? I mean, Merit, which is now I Love Kit, which is Trumpeter, their 1350 Art Royal, they've got all that detail in. I'm concerned that Trumpeter are continuing to dumb down their kits, although the most recent releases have looked better, so maybe they were, and they've found that sales were dropping off because the kits were getting more and more basic. I think model manufacturers tend to fall into the trap of thinking, you know, don't worry about that, the aftermarket boys will pick it up. Well, firstly, that's not always the case. There are a number of ship kits out there, plastic ships, that do not have and never have had photo etch. So it's not always the case. And secondly, that's not really what the modeler is looking for. Aftermarket came up because models weren't detailed enough. And that was driven by limitations of plastic moulding. But now we're being driven by a cost point or can't be bothered. Because quite clearly, Trumpeter, and not just Trumpeter, but one or two other Chinese manufacturers, can do better than they do in those kits. So either they're being driven by speed to market, how quickly they want to get the project from start to finish, and therefore cutting some corners, or they want to hit a price point which they can't achieve if they put bells and whistles on it. So yeah, there's always compromises in it, and you know, by no means is it just the Chinese manufacturers. You see it quite a bit from Airfix as well, where they say, yeah, but we know it's not right, but the aftermarket will pick it up, you know. So I don't want to get on my soapbox, because I very easily could right now. But yeah, it's just one of those things, and I think the Graf Zeppelin is a prime example of how you've got a great opportunity and you squander it, because I'm not looking forward to building that now. In fact, I might not. Then yesterday you got the next instalment of Sharnhorst, which means you've had 2 weeks of Scharnhorst. And we continued with the scratch building and the aftermarket. And it's a bit annoying that MK1 have done a lot of replacing what Trumpeter have done with a part that's got more finesse and more detail, but is still wholly 100% inaccurate. What's the point of that? And again, this is effort, isn't it? And bothering and understanding. So Trumpeter puts a great big plastic triangular lump on, and that should be a vent with a protective cover over it. So MK1 make a photo etch protective cover to replace the great big plastic triangle. Brilliant. Only the vent type is completely wrong, and it never looked like that. And you've only got to look at any picture to see that it's a type with a folding lid and doesn't have a protective cover. But no, there's what, 7, 8, 9 of them on the lower superstructure that MK1 have incorrectly done because Trumpeter incorrectly did them. What is the point of aftermarket that just emulates the inaccuracies that the original manufacturer made? The whole point is to correct it, to make it better. So I'm a bit frustrated with some elements of the Scharnhorst build, not because I've not got the materials there to make those corrections. And when you've spent a lot of money, £200+ on an upgrade set, you'd like it to upgrade it, not just improve it, but make it more accurate. You know, improving an inaccuracy with another inaccuracy is still something you've got to discard. So when I've finished, I will be writing quite a strongly worded email to the customer services of MK1 and saying what you're playing at, because it's just junk. It's absolute junk, and it's sort of making parts for the sake of making parts and lazy research, whatever it is. But the superstructure has come on really nicely. I have finished the lower superstructure. I will show you that a little later in the video. So that gets us today. So yeah, that's what happened last week. Right then, what did we get up to on the bench? Well, Saturday was my wood morning, and what we were working on was the Endeavour. Let me just get this out of the way. So we did a couple of things on the Saturday. We finished the mast, so you can see we've got yards in there. If I bring this to the camera, you can't get the whole mast in because it is huge. It just goes on forever. There you go. So you can see we've got the yards in now, which are actually made from copper tube with eyes in the end. If I get that a bit closer, you can see that. And we've painted all of that up and given the boom a second coat, so that's now all installed. And then on the side here, I put this back before I finish showing you, we've got these little parts here, again made from copper tube with brass eyes, and we've had to put the brass wire in. Why they didn't do that earlier in the build with the as part of the instructions, it's part of the plan instructions. Seems a bit odd to me, but anyway. So we made those turnbuckles. So all we've got left to do now is the rigging and the sails, and the sails are dreadful. The material, I don't know what it is. It's some form of woven kryptonite that rejects any form of adhesive. So what you're supposed to do is, here, let me show you. What you're supposed to do on the sail is fold this edge over. Can you see? It's like a double edge. Fold it over, align it with the eyes, so you've got a double thickness. Glue it down. So I've got some really expensive material glue that I actually bought from Singer, you know, the people that make the sewing machines. And it says on there, I've used it before, I've used it on other materials that I've done, and it says guaranteed to glue almost any material. Well, this is the almost part of it, because this it will not touch. It just stays tacky, it doesn't cure, and you end up scraping it off. It's an utter nightmare. So I don't know what the hell this is made out of, but I can't glue it down. So I'm going to be cutting the fold off and then just threading it on singular. But I mean, they look horrible, the sails. If I was making this for myself, I wouldn't be putting the sails on, but because I'm doing it as a full build, I'm committed to putting the sails on, so I will. But yeah, not liking it. So we're not far off doing that. How many videos it's going to take to get the rest of that done, I don't know. The instructions for the rigging are not brilliant. So again, it's moving me away from the thought that this is a good beginner's kit, because actually the instructions aren't sufficient for a beginner to complete the model, I don't think. So the having the plastic hull and avoiding having to do the planking, whilst it's very time saving, actually I think there's other things they could have done to make this better for beginners, and one of them would have been more clear instructions, or not stopping the instructions when they did. There's nothing wrong with the instructions that we've had so far, but when they leave you with the plans aren't quite clear enough on their own. So yeah, anyway, that's where we are with the Endeavour. She is looking nice. She's a typical wooden model though, where there's a lot of generic things on here, and we'll talk about that towards the end. Whereas this, as a genuine beginner's model, is very, very accurate and to the original plans and so on. Okay, so that's what we did on Saturday. Got a bit of a change on what's happening on the workbench coming up this week. We'll talk about that in a sec. Then on Sunday, you guys had me working on Sharnhorst again, which means we got the lower superstructure completed. So there she is. And you can see all the photo etches on now. And we have the additional ventilators on, additional pipe work, the deck, and everything is completed up there, so that's all ready to go. And we're just now starting to look at the next level of superstructure, so these two parts here. Decks have been test fitted. They're too wide. The MK1 set decks are too wide. If you put them in without modification, they'll just pop up. Even if they don't pop up immediately, they inevitably will do. So I've had to cut them, almost all of them, in half to make them fit, and take out, you know, a slither and bring them back together again. But that's all been done. So that is ready for painting when we next do something on Scharnhorst, which won't be this weekend. So on the bench this weekend, my usual routine is a little bit of wood stuff on a Saturday and then a full morning of modelling on a Sunday. This week, because I've got my granddaughter on Sunday and we've got her from about 10 AM, I can't be filming once she's here because she's just too loud. So what we're going to do is we're going to do Saturday morning will be the modelling morning, and we'll do some wood stuff on Sunday. But it means that I can only do wood modelling till about 9:30 until people are around. So I won't get much done. This week we'll be working on this though, so we'll finish that planking and probably start sanding all of this into shape is what's likely to happen. But we'll talk about that next week when we do know what we got up to. So, stash ads. There is two things that have happened this week in the way of stash ads. One is I received this, which I had actually ordered last week. I might have mentioned it last week, that I'd ordered a kit and it hadn't been delivered yet. So that's this. And I've ordered another kit, which will be the follow-on from the Sherbourn kit. So we won't talk about that until next week when it turns up. But unless one of my pre-orders comes up, I don't think so. So the Tamiya new 1350 Panzerkampfwagen 1, that launch has been delayed. And so that might be the end of the month now, or even the start of November. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there. We'll talk about that in modelling news, I guess. But yeah, Anne Boleyn. So this has been on my wants list since I was a nipper. When I was about 8 or 9, one Christmas, I got Oliver Cromwell and Julius Caesar in this range of figures. And I really enjoyed building them. And I can remember clearly painting Julius Caesar in what would be Humbrol 19, gloss red, and he had a gloss red tuft on the top of his helmet and what have you. And I felt both of those figures were fairly basic, compared to the Black Prince, which I think I got at a different time. And I thought the Black Prince was much, much nicer. A lot more detailed. They had a lot of surface detail because he had this armour on, but he also had as I remember, he had a jousting pole, and he had a removable helmet, and I think the helmet had a lion on, as I remember. And yeah, I painted him in silver and copper. Again, that would have been Humbrol 11 and 12. So I can remember doing that, and I can remember thinking that it was really detailed. Well, I really want to revisit him at some point. So I'm always on the lookout for a decent price for the Black Prince, yet to find one. He tends to go for a little bit more, and there is some much older ones. I mean, there's original ones of him in a bag. That's how old he is. I think he's a 1950s original tooling, mid to late 50s, I think. But seemed to be better than the Oliver Cromwell, Julius Caesar, which seemed a little bit basic in their detail. So like the leather overcoat that Oliver Cromwell was wearing didn't really have any creases or anything, and it was just fairly straight. But he did have a helmet with an opening visor, as I recall. You know, Cromwellian helmet. But I always wanted to do Anne Boleyn and Henry VIII. So I've managed to finally get hold of a good Anne Boleyn. I paid £15 for that delivered. So that, for me, is a bargain. That's probably cheaper than it would have cost new. This is a 1998, I think, re-release. But who cares? The kit inside is the same. And it's in mint condition. In fact, the tape is still taped down. No one's ever been in this box since I left the factory, which is just an absolute shame. So there we go, Anne Boleyn. You get the little pedestal, and you get the ivy leaves separately to glue on and what have you. So that will be a lot of fun. Someone asked me if I was getting into figure painting. I have sort of periods of time when I get interested in painting figures, and then for ages I do nothing with it, and then I come back to it. This has been on my wants list since I was, well, you know, for probably the last 44, 45 years. And I sort of forget about it for a while, and then I go, oh, actually, I want to get one of these. They're only skill level 1, so they don't take long to build, but they're a lot of fun, and it's all about the painting, really. But I do want to get the Black Prince and Henry VIII to go with it at some point. So at some point I'll build these on the channel, but we can talk about that in other stuff later on. Right then, modelling news. Let's start with an update on that Verifier Musashi that I did a review of a week or two back now. So I have had an email from Gary Ford, who's the managing director of Tiger Hobbies, who's the UK importer, and I'll read to you what he has told me. Saw your good review of the new Verifier 1350 Musashi. Tiger Hobbies are the UK importers of the Verifier, and we should be loading that model on our monthly container in late October. It should get here about mid-December 2024. That means they must be air freighting it, because it's 6 weeks by sea, easy. It just missed our late September container, so that's why we've not seen it available in the UK. We've got a price update as well. The UK retail price for the standard version is £129.99. That's delivered within the UK, and the DX version, which is the one I reviewed, will be £269.99. These will be for sale at a number of UK outlets, but there will only be 36 to 48 to be imported of the standard kit, basic kit, and about 12 to 24 of the DX kit. thanks for the review. So basically, there ain't going to be many in the UK, wherever you end up getting it from. And if you don't get it from Tiger Hobbies directly, you might find there's a little bit of a markup on. So they're probably going to be the best place. Now, I have no affiliations with Tiger Hobby. He drops me an email from time to time if I happen to be mentioning a product that he's doing. So I'm grateful for that information, really, really helpful. And now you guys know. So if you're interested in that and you live in the UK, you now know when it's likely to hit. So I imagine that Tiger Hobbies will put it on pre-order or something like that just before it lands, when they know for sure it's on the container. So keep an eye out on them. And if you want it, get it on pre-order, because there ain't going to be many. It's going to be hard to find that. Okay, so there you go. That's the update on that. Right, breaking news from Airfix. So let's talk about that. I'm recording this on the Wednesday, and it's my lunchtime. So actually this went live 2 hours ago in my real world. But they don't have stock until Friday, which is yesterday on as you watch this. So they have re-released the Avro Anson. And when they announced that, I got the information earlier in the week. We weren't allowed to share it. When they announced that, I thought, oh, good. Really nice kit, the Anson. As you know, I built it on the channel. Really enjoyed building it. Many of you enjoyed that video series as well. And it came out really well. It's a lovely, lovely kit. And I'm really taken by, there's 3 paint schemes. I'm really taken by the navy one, which is 999 on the number. There's bound to be someone who's going to put those decals on upside down and go, oh look, I've got 666. Bound to be someone that's going to do it. I know it. But yeah, so I'm very tempted. But the only reason why I'm not rushing out to buy it is, firstly, I've already built one and not that long ago, and secondly, I want to build one with the different windscreen, and they all have the latest style windscreen, but I want to build one with the earlier style windscreen. So I sort of want the original release again, as much as I love the navy version on this one. But that's just me. 3 very nice options. So yeah, all in all, a nice kit, very nice kit. If you've not come across it before, go to my playlists and you will find a full build of it there. And, you know, we fully weathered the interior. I did the white one with the camouflage strips, which was quite fun to do. So yeah, very nice kit. So that's breaking news from Airfix. Again, no new releases in their breaking news. And are we going to get another surprise before Telford? I don't know. Be interesting to see. And in other news, Vanguard Models have released more images on their Facebook page of the pending kit release, the HMS Harpy, which is a single deck, mainly armed with carronades. As you can see here, this is one of the pictures. I did ask Vanguard what the experience level would be of this, and the response was probably experienced, possibly amateur, because the hull planking will be fairly straightforward because of our lines. You've not got complicated bending and shaping to do, which is one of the main things that adds into your skill level required. Chris believes that if you've done a couple, you should be all right with this. And she looks really, really nice. So expected release late October, early November. I don't know whether I'll be reviewing one or not, which leads me into nicely into a segue, because I've been asked a couple of questions about Vanguard models. We've talked about them a lot recently, and I just want to clear up one or two things. So let's talk about Vanguard models in other stuff. But before we get into other stuff, we need to talk about the week ahead. So what's going to be happening on the channel after today? Well, tomorrow we're going to be bringing the 10,000 subscribers takeover to an end with a live stream. Not done a live stream for a little while, and we're going to talk group builds. So this is group builds ready for next year. Now there's already one group build that I've decided we're going to do, but I want to have a second one that runs during the year. So what that will be, how long we'll give people to do it, is yet to be determined. That's what we're going to decide. So if you want to get involved in the channel, you want to steer the channel in a direction with the group build for next year, you need to be on that live stream. So that will be tomorrow. At this moment in time, I'm expecting it to be 9 PM for around about an hour, and on there I will share what the plan is for the group build that I want to do, which I think a lot of people on this who subscribe to this channel are going to buy into, and then we are going to talk about what should be another one, and it needs to be very different. But what I don't want is the theme to be let's all build a Lancaster bomber. So just so you can get your creative juices flowing ahead of tomorrow's live stream, what I'm looking for is a theme that gives anybody who builds any different type of model, whether it be plastic, whether it be wood, whether it be matchstick, whether it be cars or military vehicles, an opportunity to do something. So we're going to go with something like, I don't know, the colour blue as the theme. And so all your models have got to feature blue in one way or another. So it could be that you do an aircraft and it's all over blue, or it could be that you do a vehicle and it's got the name blue on it, or something like that. Has to be some connection. I'm not suggesting that's what we do, but that's where I want to be. It needs to be all encompassing. So let's do something that is going to bring as many people as possible into a group build. But we'll decide that there. If ultimately you all really, really, really want to do a Spitfire group build, that's what we'll do. So yeah, we're going to decide all that tomorrow. So have a think about what you want. Be ready to argue your point in the live chat, and we will try and decide in the live chat what that second group build will be. Now, when I say second, I don't know when it's going to run from or run to. That'll depend on what we end up choosing. But I do have one that is going to run for the full length of 2025. The group build will start 1st of January. It will finish probably middle of December. So I've got time to put together a video of all those builds. So I will announce that tomorrow in the live stream, and then I guess we'll follow up on the next table talk about it. Right, so that is tomorrow. So Monday, what are we expecting Monday? So Monday will be part 20 of the Endeavour build. I'm not quite sure what that is. I think we did brass railings last time, didn't we? So I'm not sure. I can't remember what came next after that. Anyway, you'll find out on Monday with episode 20 of our Amati Endeavour. And then on Wednesday, we've got the poor old Tomahawk kit from Airfix that's been pushed back so many times for various reasons, but that's finally going out Wednesday. I'm not changing it no matter what. So yeah, even if my lottery numbers come up and I go and buy one of everything from Vanguard models, we ain't gonna change what's happening there. So that's a definite. And then we should be on tempo number 3 on Friday. So yeah, it'd be nice to see some of that again. Gives me a bit of breathing space on the Sharnhorst build, because that's been a bit pressured with having to. Well, it hasn't. I've been building content, but it's so slow at putting material together that I'm a bit hand to mouth with it. I'd like to get ahead at some point. Well, maybe we've got to wait till the Christmas holidays before we can do that. So yeah, and then that will get us back to next week's table talk. So there you go. That's what is coming up next week. We've already talked about what I'll be working on the modelling bench. So it'll be more tempo and more of the Sherbourn. Right. Let's get on with other things. I say other things, it's other stuff, isn't it? Right, let's start with Facebook. So I don't go on Facebook a lot. I do go on Facebook occasionally. I am in a couple of... there was a period of time when I was in lots and lots of different modelling streams, and what happened was you got bombarded with loads and loads of messages and you weren't interested in 99.9% of them, and it was just a hassle. So I left all of them because I didn't have time for them, and whenever I logged on, because I logged on so infrequently, you get ping, 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 and you just couldn't keep up with it. So I just left pretty much all of them. There's one or two that I stayed in. And a couple more that I still need to leave, really. I have recently joined a couple. I follow Vanguard Models because it's helpful from a news point of view, and also there's a wooden model ship page that I'm on, largely so I can post my videos. I'm not too fussed about Facebook, and people in the past have asked me about doing a Facebook page. Absolutely not. It's an utter nightmare managing a Facebook page compared to YouTube. You don't have the tools to manage trolls. You've got to be constantly watching it. It takes up too much of your time, and there's too many keyboard warriors, and you know, I can't be doing with all these keyboard heroes. Just, you know, jog on. So the best thing for me to do is just participate in the one or two select channels that I want to. And I'm not too fussed about Facebook, because statistically, if you post your stuff on 10 YouTube channels, or if I went on to 10 Facebook channels and posted my latest YouTube video on all of them, that's likely to influence my subscriber count by 0.5% across a 12-month period. So in other words, it ain't worth the effort. So yeah, the only reason I want to share the new one, are the new Sherbourn videos on the wood channel, is because there's a number of people that I see going on there saying, look, I'm new to this, how do I start off, what tools I need? So I'm hoping those videos will be helpful, and I have seen one or two of my other subscribers on there as well. So I follow Vanguard Models mainly for the news of what he's getting up to. You will have seen some of my videos posted on his channel. That's Chris choosing to do that. That's not me. I dropped him an email and said, this is the dates of when my videos are coming out. It's up to him what he puts on his channel and shares on there, not me. Someone suggested that I had a nice little relationship with Vanguard Models. Well, no, not really. I only know him to exchange emails with, and I've only really exchanged emails with when I have bought kits off him. And let's be clear, there is nothing from Vanguard Models that I have reviewed that has been given to me. I have purchased everything, and he doesn't do giving away stuff. His margins are very, very tiny, very tight compared to other big manufacturers. He's doing, for my money, some of the most beautiful wooden ship kits you can get on the market. And Before Vanguard models existed, my favourite wooden ship kit of all time, he just happened to have designed, and I didn't know it at the time, which is the Caldercraft Mary Rose. I'm talking about Vanguard models because I truly love the products he's producing. He's a small UK manufacturer, and he's doing a tremendous job of producing high quality products, and I'm bought into that. So that's the only reason we are doing that. If I thought that Amati was the best, then I'd be trying to do more with Amati. Let's be honest here. I have approached Amati indirectly by their promotions manager. I'm not really sure what his title is, who sort of manages the Amati Facebook page, and said, look, you know, are they interested in sending me kits for review, and I'll post them back. And the answer was, I'll get back to you, and then didn't. So the answer is clearly no, not really. So, you know, unless I say otherwise, everything I review on this channel I've paid for, and that allows me to say what I like. If I've been given it, I clearly say so, and in fact that's within YouTube rules, which some people flout, but I don't. So if I review a kit and I say, right, this has been given to me, then that's what's happened. Otherwise, I have purchased it. And more to the point, if I ever accept a kit for review, it's on the clear understanding that I can say what I believe is right. And if I think it's rubbish, I will say it's rubbish. Just happens to not be the case with Vanguard models. It's all beautiful stuff, as I'm sure you will agree, because that Indefatigable was amazing. Right then, so that's sort of other stuff done, but I did say I'd talk about why I've had a very painful week. On Friday night, just after the Sharnhorst build video had finished, I was doing a little bit of modelling, and I made myself some toast, and I toasted some sourdough bread that I had made, and managed to break my tooth. It's a tooth that was dead. It had root canal done on it 10 or so years ago, and yeah, I broke what I thought I'd broken it in half, because the front bit was flapping about in my gum and the back bit was sort of in place. Anyway, I managed to get into the dentist on Monday, and long story short is a young dentist there. I think she'd not been a dentist for very long. She had to get a second opinion, but actually it just validated her opinion, in fairness to her, that the tooth was going to have to come out because the crack went right down into the root. So I was going to get further complications if they left it in. So they took the bit that was flapping about off and built up a little cover and said, get yourself back in as soon as you can. Well, as it happened, there was a cancellation, so I was able to get in the next day. So at 12:05 on Tuesday, I'm a little bit apprehensive. I've had a tooth out before, and on 2 occasions, it's been absolutely horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. On one occasion, it was surgical, and they had to cut it into 4 and take it out in 4 pieces. And it took him 1 hour and 25 minutes. And on another occasion, the guy just walloped it out and cracked my jaw at the same time. And I ended up suing him for unprofessional behaviour. So I've never liked the dentist. When I was a kid, I was one of those kids that would be running away, locking yourselves in the toilet, whatever you needed to do to avoid going to the dentist. And I'm sort of paying the price of my older age for neglecting my teeth when I was a preteen. But you know, when you're a kid, you know best, despite what your mum and dad tell you. So anyway, I broke this tooth. I went in on Tuesday to have it removed. The young dentist, bless her, after 15 minutes decided she needed support, so another dentist came in, more waggling around and what have you. They were worried that what they didn't want to do was the tooth to break and leave some of the root in, because then they were going to have to cut through the gum, take it out, fold a flap over, stitch it up. So she had another go, she couldn't get it out. So then they called the most senior dentist on site, and she had a go, bit more waggling, and so 45 minutes in, she got the tooth out. Blimey, I came home and I must have just been in shock because I was shaking like a leaf. Yeah, I was in so much pain on Tuesday. So it's Wednesday now. The pain's gone down. I mean, I've just taken some paracetamol now, halfway through filming this. But it's so sore up into my sinus, my nose there, side of my face. It feels like I've had a rumble in the jungle with Muhammad Ali and I didn't come off on top. Yeah, I feel proper black and blue. So yeah, I mean, it had to come out. There was nothing we could do. There wasn't enough tooth to put a cap on it or anything like that. So there you go. But blimey, am I feeling it? It really, really hurts. So yeah, not good from that point of view, but the channel's had a great week. I've got more subscribers in this month than any other month previously so far. So doing really, really well. So thank you again very much for your subscriptions and for continuing to subscribe. You make this a lot of fun. Right then, shall we talk about special people? Right, well, you're all special people, to be quite honest. If you've subscribed to the channel, I'm very grateful because it just makes this a lot of fun. But there are one or two people who like to donate from time to time, and I'm especially grateful to you because you help the content. You know, this was bought by you guys that make donations. So yes, I get a small revenue from actually making the videos. But it's really nice when someone gives a little donation. I feel that I've reached someone and that someone is saying, look, thank you for the content, I'm enjoying it. And if you're enjoying it as much as I'm enjoying it, then that's job done. There's always someone who, you know, wants to have a moan. Some people just like having a moan. That's fine. I'll just block you and carry on focusing with the happy people of the world. So let's say thank you to those of you that gave some contributions this week. Okay, kicking off with Richard, I'm not sure I'm going to pronounce this right, Grice? One of those, or maybe not. Sorry. Thank you very much for your donation. Hugely appreciated. You know, it's very rare that I get donations like that, so I am most grateful. That's going to get reserved for my visit to Telford, and we will see what we can do with it there, because we're only a month away. And then James Carnahan, thank you very much for another donation. You know it's greatly appreciated, and you know where it goes. We've got some tools on order ready for review soon, and we've got some more pre-orders, and all of that is due to that. And also Mark Overdrive, that's not right, is it? Mark Old Revive, is it? I don't know. Again, I'm not very good at this reading, Lark. So unless it's instructions, I struggle. But thank you very much for your donation, mate. Really appreciated. Helps the channel no end. So yeah, there we go. Thank you very much. Donations are always most welcome. But obviously, the content is free. And that's why you get all those adverts and things in it. But if you want to miss the adverts, come along and watch the build on a Friday. It's advert free. You get to chat with me and everybody else who's a subscriber that's in the chat as well, including some other channels. So it's great to build your network and talk to people. And I know one or two of you have become friends over Facebook and what have you, and talked about things that you've got common interests in. So it's really nice to see that. We're all part of the Model Kit Stuff family at the end of the day. Well, I think I've waffled enough, so we'll do some shout-outs, channel shout-outs next week maybe. Okay, that is 7 bells. So I hope you're having a great week. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys live tomorrow. Hopefully my mouth will be feeling a lot better by then. So thank you very much for following the channel, for everything you've done to support what I do, for the 10,000 subscriptions. You know, just a big thank you. Have a great week. You enjoy your modelling. I'm looking forward to seeing some of you get involved in your Sherbourn builds. And until the next time, bye for now. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so. It's free, and that way you won't miss my first impressions, my tool reviews, my product reviews, and any of my builds, including wooden model kits as well as plastic. It's all free, and if you'd like to support the channel, you can hit my PayPal link in the text below. Every pound goes straight into the channel to keep the cameras rolling and to do more fun stuff for you to watch.